In this first tutorial for the Blender 3D animation tool, we're going to be looking at the Blender interface and how to make a very simple scene. When you load Blender for the first time, you're going to meet the splash screen like this one here. We don't need to use this at the moment, so we just click to the right. And here we have our 3D space. This is the 3D space where we're going to be positioning all our items to be displayed and rendered. And at the moment we have 3 different items in here, which we're going to look at in a second. To prove to you that this is a 3D space, we can zoom in and out using the mouse wheel. Or we can actually rotate the whole scene by pressing the middle mouse button in and rotating around. If your mouse doesn't have a middle mouse button, you may find you get the same feature by just pressing in the mouse wheel itself. So this is a 3D scene, a bit like you might see in a computer game, for example. And we have 3 main components that we need to understand to get us started. We have the cube, which is in the center. This is the thing that's going to be rendered, shown in our image. We have to the right of this cube a light source, and you can see the exact position of this light source by, again, rotating the scene. So we can see the light source is to the top right of the cube, so it's illuminating the top and maybe the side of the cube, but not so much this side here. This side here, we will imagine, will be quite dark. And this light source acts a bit like a sun, radiating down light on the cube. And the final thing we have in the scene is this item here, which is the camera. This is what we're going to see our scene through. And as you can see, if I just rotate behind it, we're going to be a nice big picture of the side of this cube. So as we just predicted, we're going to have the top lit up, this side lit up a little bit, and this side probably quite dark. To actually render out and to see what this camera sees, what we do is we press the F12 key. So let's press that. And I see exactly like I predicted. We have a light up here shining on the top and on the side, but not so much on this side. To get out of this view, hit the escape key. Now, to prove to you that this is happening, what we can do is we can select this cube, and to select, rather strangely, we use the right mouse button. In most programs it's the left mouse button, but in Blender it's the right mouse button to select the different objects. And to move or to manipulate this cube, what we're going to do is we're going to use these handles. We have a blue handle to go on the Z-axis or up and down. We have a green handle to go on the Y-axis or kind of left and right in our scene. And a red arrow here to go on the X-axis or kind of in and out in our scene. So if I want to move it up, I press the left mouse button on the blue arrow and I move it up. If I want to move it along the Y-axis, the green arrow moves it along there, and the red arrow moves it this way. And I can move this cube around my scene. Now, if I put it there, what's that going to do to my image? Well, if I have a look, the light now will be shining mostly on this side and a little bit on the top. But if I go right behind this camera, well, I'm not sure I'm going to get any of it in my shot at all. So let's press F12 to see what this actually renders up into. So I get a very tiny fraction of the cube in my scene. This side's still dark, the light's over here shining on this side of the cube, and that's probably what I was expecting. I again can move it down if I want to. I press F12 again, and I get back to my original shot. Escape to exit. Now, a cube probably isn't very interesting. Let's try and make something more interesting. For example, why don't we have a monkey with a hat on? That sounds a lot more interesting. So what I do to start off with is I select my cube using the right mouse button and I hit the delete key. It then asks me whether I'm sure or not. Well, I am, so I either click the mouse to say delete or I press the enter key and it disappears. To add some more objects to our scene, we're going to use this panel on the left hand side. We have tools, we also have create, and I have a selection of things that we can add. And as I said, I'm going to add a monkey with a hat. So I click on monkey and it adds a monkey. And now I can move the monkey around the scene like so, using the left mouse button and the arrows. So I said I wanted to have a monkey with a hat. Out of this stuff here, I think I'm going to select a cone. So let's select cone, and I have a cone there. And if you can see, together, we have the cone not quite in the right location. So what I'm going to do again is I right click select the cone, use the blue arrow and the red arrow to move it around. That looks okay, but if I look from this angle, I need to bring it across a bit, and there I have a monkey with a hat on. Press F12 to see what this looks like, and we get, okay, well we've got a hat and we've got a monkey, but it's not very well lit. Hit escape on that for a second. What we can do is we can actually move this light up here much in the same way as we just moved the monkey and the cone. We right click on it to select it, and we left click to move the arrows and to get the light down here so it's a little bit more lighting up the monkey's face. If I hit F12, then I have a much better picture. Now, what you can do is you can play around with adding and deleting objects and creating a different scene and then pressing F12 to render it.